The chandeliers at the Newport Yacht Club drip with a light so old it feels almost ceremonial, a kind of golden judgment that falls on anyone foolish enough to sit beneath it. I can feel it on my skin as I walk toward the Morgan table, guided by a host whose smile carries the soft pity usually reserved for people heading into an execution chamber. The scent of the sea mixes with my mother's expensive perfume, sharp, floral, suffocating. I take a breath, grounding myself. I should have expected this dinner to be a performance. I just didn't realize I'd be the main act. Nathaniel checks his watch the moment. I pull out my chair, his third glance in less than a minute. Evelyn adjusts a diamond bracelet, one she wears whenever she wants to look impenetrable. Serena lifts her phone slightly, the screen angled with a filmmaker's precision. The three of them look like a panel prepared to deliberate my fate. Scripts memorized, verdict already written. I smooth the skirt of my black dress, the same one I wore last Christmas. The one my mother claimed looked funeral appropriate. Maybe she wasn't wrong. Arya, Evelyn says warmly, though her voice has that brittle edge that means something is about to break. You look well. I sit. The leather groans beneath me, a small sound swallowed by the heavy air. Something else groans, to an old, familiar ache in my chest. My mother slides an envelope across the table, the gesture too graceful, too rehearsed. The envelope lands exactly between my bread plate and water glass. An invitation, a sentence, a dismissal, or all three. Nathaniel lays his hand over it, sealing the moment like a notary overseeing a document of execution. Arya, he says, we think this is for the best. His voice is steady, professionally detached, the way he sounds when easing a failing investment out of a portfolio. I open the envelope, a check, $10,000, signed, dated, printed before I even walked in the door. Serena lifts her phone a bit higher, waiting for a tremble in my fingers, a crack in my voice. She wants a reaction she can replay later. A trophy clip of humiliation. But humiliation is a choice. And today, I'm choosing nothing. Thank you, I say evenly, folding the check with slow precision. I will. Serena's disappointment flickers so faintly it's almost beautiful. No viral moment for her feed. No dramatic collapse. I slip the check into my purse. They continue speaking something about responsibility, reputation, family stability, but the words don't land. Because they don't know. They have no idea. Not about the acquisition. Not about the wire transfer. Not about the fact that I am, at this table, the wealthiest person in the room 16 months earlier. I stood in a fluorescent-lit incubator at MIT, staring at equations that looked like a crime scene scribbled across my whiteboard. That day still feels close, like an echo. Dr. Lucian Thorne, infamous for dismantling graduate students with a single glance, tapped one of my probability blocks with the blunt end of his pen. Arya Morgan, he said dryly, your premise is statistically impossible. The words stung not because they were cruel, but because they weren't. They were honest. And honesty from Thorne meant he saw enough potential to bother tearing it apart. The chaos is the point, I argued, trying to breathe past the tightness in my throat. The algorithm doesn't predict an exact outcome. It maps the cascading probabilities. It learns. He pushed my proposal back across the table. 3 months of my life reduced to a stack of paper. Bring me proof, Miss Morgan. Data so undeniable even chaos would bow to it. That afternoon, I stood alone in the lab, staring at the formulas I'd memorized, trying to see what he saw, trying to understand the flaw I'd missed. The servers hummed behind me like a reminder of all the failures they'd witnessed. My throat ached with frustration. Then Adrian Chen walked in my first hire, a quiet genius with a coder's mind and a poet's patience. He studied the board, then me. He's wrong, Adrian said softly, not defiant. just certain. He's looking at the storm, not the system that creates it. That's when everything changed. My chosen family didn't begin with a grand epiphany. It began with someone who believed quietly, stubbornly, beautifully. For 6 months we lived in that lab, sustained by takeout, caffeine, and the kind of hope that borders on delusion. Each failure was logged, time-stamped, backed up, documented. We built our proof point by point, line by line. And yet, the algorithm kept collapsing. Predictive folding remained noise, elegant, sophisticated noise. One evening, after another simulation crumbled in front of me, I left the lab and walked along the Charles River, a bruise-colored sunset reflected on the water. That's when I saw it, a murmuration of starlings twisting in the sky. Like one breathing creature, chaotic, unpredictable, beautiful, but not random. Thousands of birds, each following a handful of simple rules. The flock wasn't the pattern. The rules were. I froze, breath-catching, heart-pounding. There it was, the missing piece. I ran all the way back to the lab. Adrian was asleep on the couch, curled under a lab coat like a makeshift blanket. I didn't wake him. I just started typing. Frenzied, electrified typing. Rewriting the algorithm, reframing the equations. Shifting the logic. The breakthrough wasn't predicting the final. Protein shape it was understanding the choices of every amino acid, one interaction at a time. A conversation, not a map. 2 weeks later, the first successful simulation ran. Then another. Then 100. Proof. Beautiful, undeniable proof. The kind that makes or breaks futures. With that data, we secured the NSF grant, my first real victory. I called home, elated, glowing with pride that felt so rare it almost startled me. Evelyn answered. "That's lovely, darling," she murmured. But Lisa and Serena just made partner. Can you imagine? The youngest in the firm's history. My news flickered out like a match in a storm. Back at the yacht club table, the memory stings, but only as a reminder of distance. A reminder of why I stopped needing them. They think this check is a punishment. But Protean AI was acquired this morning. $12 million. My algorithm, the one they mocked, dismissed, ignored, is now a landmark accomplishment. The room glows differently now. The chandeliers feel less like judgment and more like irony. "We hope there are no hard feelings," Nathaniel says. Hard feelings? No, just clarity. "You're making a mature choice," Evelyn tells me, mistaking my stillness for meekness. I smile softly. "You're right." Serena narrows her eyes, sensing something she can't name. Something off script, something dangerous. The check is still warm in my purse. My hands are steady. My pulse is calm. I'm already gone, already free, already building a future where their approval is irrelevant. I look at all three of them. Is there anything else? I ask gently. Nathaniel sits back, relieved. No, I think that concludes everything. It doesn't. Not even close. Because none of them know what's coming. None of them know what I already have. None of them know the storm they just triggered. I rise from the table, smoothing my dress, my voice steady as the tide outside. Good night, as I turn. I catch Serena lowering her phone. The reaction she wanted never came. But the one she's going to get, that will be so much bigger, and they will never see it coming. Seattle greets me with a soft drizzle, misting the Puget Sound like a curtain between my old life and the one I've carved out for myself. My office is quiet, polished, immaculate, a stark contrast to the chaos back in Newport. The headline blinks on my screen. Protean AI acquired in landmark $12 million deal. My photo stares back at me. Confident, poised, calm. A carefully constructed mask. The truth is, I'm still trembling with the kind of excitement that feels almost illicit. $12 million. Months of work. Years of unseen effort. Every doubt, every dismissal, every smirk and sideways glance from Nathaniel, Evelyn, and Serena, all of it crystallized into this singular moment. My phone vibrates. The first text is from Nathaniel. "Aria, a terrible misunderstanding. We need to talk immediately." I almost laugh. Misunderstanding? That's what he calls a meticulously orchestrated plan to humiliate me. Then a voicemail from Evelyn. "Darling, I saw the news." Bursting with pride. "Let's celebrate. Dinner at the club. You can tell us everything." And an email from Serena. Subject: Urgent family matter, Jess. "This is incredible. You need proper counsel. I can protect you." Protect me? Protect you. Of course. Control, claim a cut. I let the notifications pile up, a digital monument to their hypocrisy. I don't respond, not a single one. Their frantic pride, their desperate apologies are irrelevant. Adrian enters quietly, 2 steaming cups of coffee in hand, ready to build phase 2. His smile is genuine, no judgment, no history of mockery, just trust. My real family, my chosen family. I take the cup, let the warmth seep into my palms. I turn back to the whiteboard, marker in hand. That's where the work lives. That's where I belong, and then the attack begins. It's 3-pronged, coordinated, calculated. First, a demand letter arrives via my lawyer's office, a top-tier Newport firm. Crisp, formal, sterile. They've rebranded the $10,000 severance check as seed funding, now claiming a 40% stake in Proteon AI $4. $8 million. The numbers are precise, the logic almost convincing if you ignore the timeline. Second, Nathaniel quietly contacts his network, seeding doubt about my business acumen, my stability. Whisper campaigns through finance circles. Unproven, risky, reckless. Small lies repeated enough to become a threat. Third, Evelyn uses her charity networks, painting a picture of the ungrateful daughter, hinting that my success comes with emotional instability. Serena feeds legal blogs, frames the story as a naive founder being exploited. A narrative where she swoops in as savior. The pressure is immense. Walls closing in. Legal threats, reputational sabotage, financial intimidation. Then Dorian Mavia calls. His voice is grim. "Aria, they're trying to create enough noise to force a settlement. They'll drag your name through the mud." I listen, nodding, recording, documenting. Every word, every tactic, filed away for later. I've played this game my entire life, meticulously, carefully, and today I'm ready to flip the board. Hours later, my lawyer's voice changes when he calls back. "Aria, I found something." A pause, almost reverent. Routine digital discovery. An old email server picked up a message from Nathaniel to Serena. Dated 1 week before the yacht club dinner. I lean forward. My stomach clenches. He reads it aloud. Step-by-step plan for the severance check. Instructions to document my emotional reaction, entire scheme laid out in black and white. Premeditated, not opportunistic, not reactive. A conspiracy executed with surgical precision. They thought they could bleed me with legal fees, smear me in the press, and reclaim a narrative. But they underestimated me. They forgot that I was trained for this battlefield long before any deal or boardroom meeting trained by them. I forward the email. No commentary. It goes to 2 places. A Pulitzer-winning journalist known for exposing corporate malfeasance. A widely respected legal ethics publication. The email speaks for itself. Within hours, the story detonates. Publicly, Nathaniel's investment firm is under internal investigation. Partners fume. His reputation collapses. Evelyn is quietly removed from her charity committees. Serena is asked to take an indefinite leave from her law firm. Their social exile, engineered for me, rebounds with brutal precision. I sit back in. My office chair, staring out at the rain over Puget Sound. Peace. The phone continues to buzz, but I ignore it. I sip my coffee, savoring the silence. Adrian's team is building the new research division. Dr. Lucian Thorne is flying in this afternoon. My chosen family surrounds me. My real life thrives here, untainted by their schemes. I schedule my first wire transfer. Not a car, not a house. A donation to MIT, establishing the Protein Fund for innovators from unsupportive families. The gesture is quiet, meaningful, a full circle moment. The ones who believed in me now have the resources to believe in others. Weeks pass, Protean AI scales. Algorithms refined, patents filed, clients secured. Every day, a reminder of what I built, not just in biotech, but in life. Not in spite of my family, but because of them. The severance check was never about money. It was about proving my autonomy, my worth. Then the final scene unfolds quietly. A dinner invitation from Evelyn. I glance at it, smile faintly. The absurdity is delicious. They assume I'll return. They assume I care. I type a single line in reply. I am no longer available for your narrative. No further explanation needed. No apologies. No submission. Adrian enters, eyes alight, ready for the next breakthrough. He asks. I grab a marker, approach the whiteboard. My team gathers, leaning forward, anticipation sparking between us. I outline phase 2 new algorithms, new simulations. Global applications dot the room hums with possibility. Innovation, freedom, the kind that cannot be stolen. I pause, look around. My eyes catch Adrian's, then Dr. Thorne's. Finally, the team behind me scribbling their own notes. Their enthusiasm is infectious. My heart swells. For the first time, this is truly mine. And then, a notification on my computer flashes a direct message from the journalist who broke the story. Public reaction is escalating faster than predicted. Are you prepared for the next wave? I smile. Calm, steady, unshakable. Yes, I type. I am ready. Because this is more than victory. This is liberation. This is life reclaimed. This is the storm they never imagined. Born from the daughter they underestimated. The boardroom may have been theirs once. The yacht club, the check, the humiliation gone. Now, the world is mine. And tomorrow. Tomorrow we build empires they couldn't even dream of. The phone buzzes again. Another notification. Another demand. Another attempt to drag me back into their story. I ignore. It because some wars are best won in silence. Some victories are sweeter when watched from a distance, and some storms, well, they are just beginning.